Welcome to Patriarchy.com, where we help you become a more virtuous leader for your family. I'm Will Knowland, and on this channel, Daily Patriarchy, I answer all your questions in the comments every day in video form. I also document our progress towards strengthening society by rebuilding the patriarchy one family at a time. Thanks to your support, this new channel is up to 587 subscribers, 18 videos in. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell, and share this content with anybody who you think might benefit from it. You might also like to check out our coaching community, Marriage Mastery. We have 102 members. This is great value at only $297 a month. That's around the price you'd pay for 1 hour of marriage counseling or therapy, except you get 24/7 support. This is for anyone looking to make rapid and serious progress in the marriage. I also have my main channel here, Will Knowland, Be Her Leader, 18.1k subs with long form content on various topics to help you grow as a man. And on to today's questions. If I skim down to the bottom here, One Flew West says, fascinating advice as always. Thank you. You're a clear and excellent teacher. I'm learning so much, as is my husband. I share your videos with him and he has gained a lot of clarity. We've been learning a lot about ourselves and our marriage over the last year, and it's not been easy, but we are in a better place than ever, and it feels so good to be here. We're still in the healing stage and find your videos hugely enlightening. I always look forward to them. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for the comment. Really glad to hear that the content is helping you. And this is a good reminder for people that you can make progress in your marriage even when things aren't going well. For men in particular, one of the main things they need to work on is actually not falling into despair. Because having a good marriage, like anything else worthwhile, is hard. It requires daily effort and attention. There's also no save button. So even when you do get it to a good state, you can backslide and things can deteriorate if you aren't putting that effort into it. This is no different from building a good body, for example, or getting your finances in order. It's often much easier to do damage than it is to maintain things in a good state. So just accept that. You're in it for the long haul. This is a lifelong effort, for better, for worse, till death do you part. And a man must have that mindset that he's in this for life, no quick fixes, and just accepting this is the way things are. Remember, endurance is the toughest part of fortitude. Scripture tells us that the life of man upon earth is a warfare. Book of Job. So just get that mindset and ingrain it into yourself and accept that this is how it is, day in, day out. And you love it. Let the work on you. One Flew West also says, how to ignite passion and attraction after turning over a new leaf together. Love your channels. Well, I thought to answer this question, I could share a few points that I've noticed have really helped guys in our coaching community and see what people think of them. If you've got questions about any of this, especially how to implement it, then let me know in the comments section and I'll go into more detail in future videos. Now, before I get into these 10 common problems in marriage and how to fix them to reignite intimacy and desire and also respect, just want to share with you some of the results that guys in our community have had from following this advice. We're having the best sex of our lives. Your advice on dress has paid dividends. My wife is all over me, and my self-esteem has improved greatly. Joining the group has been priceless. Confidence back up, which is great. She said our sex used to be plain vanilla and wasn't expecting this kind of passionate sex. Seemed surprised. She told me more about what she liked, so I'm just going to double down on that stuff. Thanks again. So my wife did something interesting today. She's been apologizing a lot, apologizing for being mean, angry, and disrespectful to me. It's almost every other day she's apologizing, which has been going on for about 3 months now. I'm currently working through the course material. Brilliant stuff. It's already starting to have a positive impact. If you want results like this, head over to patriarchy.com/start. You can join the group and get started. Now, onto the common problems then, and how I would suggest you fix them. First one is guys complaining that my wife's sex drive is low. Now, the reasons for this, first up, generally, The main reasons will be either excessive anxiety or mental load and just not feeling sexy. It's super important to protect her from chronic stress because eventually it's even going to stop her from ovulating totally. That's the damage it does to women if you let things run on like that. Now, you might be thinking, what is she actually stressed about? You need to talk more with her about how things are going. Check in with her and see what she's finding a burden. See what you can do to introduce more structure and support into her life. This is a very neglected aspect of the protector role, protecting her from stress and from her own anxiety. If you're not in tune with her like that, the emotional connection isn't what it should be, and therefore the physical connection is also going to suffer. Seems very simple. It's hard to do though. Just make sure you stick at it, and eventually you'll get to know her on deeper levels, and that feeling will actually result in her being cherished. Why isn't my wife happy? Some guys feel like they've done everything for their wives, cars, holidays, all the rest of it, and yet the wife still isn't happy. Well, you got to remember, even in Eden, Eve wanted more. And there's a sense in which women always want more. So don't make the mistake of thinking that if you only do X, Y, Z, then it's going to stop. It won't. She craves infinity, just like St. Augustine said, our hearts are restless until they rest in thee, talking about God. So you need to actually help her to cultivate gratitude, not by telling her off, right? But by modeling it in yourself and asking her questions so you can draw her attention to the good things all around her. This is one aspect of giving her boundaries, right? Letting her know that you are the one who are modeling the values that your marriage is truly built on. This is super important to do because if you neglect it as a man and you fall into the trap of thinking that more material stuff is the answer, that's a really clever and devious trick the devil plays on you, because in devoting yourself more fully to the pursuit of material goods on the assumption that it's going to fix your marriage, what actually tends to happen is that you weaken your emotional connection, you neglect her while thinking you are providing for her materially, but that luxury isn't actually going to satisfy her. After a certain point, and it's a fairly modest level of income, women actually value time, attention, and connection more than they value stuff. If you look at divorce stats against household income, then divorce goes down as household income goes up to a point. But then when household income climbs again, divorce stats also climb, okay? So guys who are pushing it to an extreme, thinking that that is the answer, are ironically destroying the very marriages that they are trying to save. So often men act like this. They think you can't have too much of a good thing. But just like guys who might think that bodybuilder-sized muscles are super attractive to women, when really mainly it's only other men who care about that, the same thing can happen with salaries too. So you've been warned. My wife is always nagging me. So first, you want to handle all the irritants in her daily life. Stuff around the house that you might have allowed to stay broken for months. The light bulb that has been flickering or has been out for 6 months because you never got around to fixing it. And then every time you see one of those things, put yourself in her shoes. They are reminding her of your failures as a man, right? Failures in just day-to-day general management of your practical affairs, those things can be big turnoffs. So make sure after all that is fixed that you're really focusing on more fun, more connection, because nagging often has a really important message. Guys who dismiss it never learn that message, but if you go beneath the nagging to find out what the source of it is, you can often find really important grains of truth, even in what you might think is unjust criticism there. Now, a big problem with this is that guys will get defensive and shut down and think that the nagging is just pure disrespect. That's often the little voice of pride whispering to the guy, saying that there's nothing to learn here, nothing to listen to. Best just to silence that voice, tune into her, and find, even in unjust criticism, the grain of truth. That will help you be constructive, okay? Listening to pride, shutting down, stonewalling her, that is destructive. Number 4, she doesn't follow my lead. Women are followers. So she'll be following someone else instead of you. Could be a friend, a relative, or just the default cultural position of feminism. So become more interesting, inspiring, and important to her. Then she'll take you more seriously. This is a huge problem because this is a huge problem. What often happens is that guys don't want to open up about their inner lives. They don't want to actually reveal parts of themselves to their wives that are more emotional or intellectual, and the wife doesn't really get an insight into what the guy is like on a deeper level. And therefore, he's not as interesting or intriguing to her, not as exciting. In other words, not as influential. And all leadership is really is influence. So build that bond with her so that you can also build influence, build attraction. She should be your best friend, and you should have those kind of deeper conversations with her so that that friendship can flourish properly. If all you do is go to work, bring home money, and then say a few grunts every now and again, and you're not taking the time to actually explore any topics with her, ask her questions, comment on what she says and add your own thoughts to it and have a proper conversation, what are you expecting to happen? Right? You're going to drift apart, develop separate inner lives from each other. And that's a form of disconnection. And all disconnection is bad. And all disconnection is dangerous because ultimately it drifts in the direction of separation or perhaps even the ultimate disconnection, divorce. Why does she start fights? Often it's because she actually prefers arguments to no attention at all. So she's trying to save your marriage. And it's when she goes silent that you should truly worry. Find the unmet need underlying the argument. This is a big thing to get your head around, but actually you should be grateful that she cares enough to even have arguments or to nag you, okay? Because that means she's still working on your marriage. It's when women go silent, cold, that's when you should truly worry because she's given up hope. So the fact that she's starting a fight is her actually trying to get you to address a problem, okay? Don't take it personally. Together, focus on the problem and see how you can solve it. That's what I mean by looking beyond the particular words used or the specific argument to what the unmet need is. And if you can frame that problem in terms of needs, it's much better. So don't blame her or criticize her personally. Instead, together, what is the problem in terms of needs for you and for me, and how can we best meet those needs together? Sometimes guys will really stress trying to figure out, what does she want? I just don't know how to make her happy. I can't figure her out. Well, she's a woman, and on very deep primal levels, she wants to feel safe, cherished, and sexually desired as well. So focus on spending fun, quality time together. And also remember that because women were made for men, as scripture tells us, the woman was made for the man, not the man for the woman. Feeling sexy around you is top because God has actually put that in women as a natural desire. She wants to please you. She wants to feel important to you. So honoring her and understanding she's a woman means understanding that and treating her with daily generosity. One of the ways guys get this so terribly wrong is by forgetting that their wives are women. I know this sounds ridiculous. Forgetting their wives are women and treating them like they are men. So forgetting that they need that validation, attention, and affection. They need to feel that sense of connection. If you live like that for long enough, then she actually doesn't feel feminine around you, okay? And then she can't flourish around you either. Remember, Eve was made from Adam's rib, and the woman wants to feel that she has a place nestled next to the man's heart. This is something that's day to day. It's not a once and done phenomenon. Adam only became head of Eve by giving up part of himself, his rib. And this has to be a daily thing in your marriage, okay? You have to daily give of yourself, your attention, your affection, your interest, etc. Give of yourself because she's connected to you in that way. This is what being one flesh means. If you neglect it, your marriage is going to suffer. For guys wondering, how can I get her to stop being disrespectful? Well, stand firm, first of all, be confident in who you are, and then she's going to stop only if she sees you as high status enough. Now, to work on her in this way, you got to work on yourself. So this involves things like being in better shape than her, dressing better than she does, because that's what being the leader means. And if you don't respect yourself, she won't respect you either. She'll still be following you. She'll just be following the tone of disrespect that you set towards yourself first of all. Some guys get resentful about the fact that this happens in male-female interactions, but it's actually very natural and you should be grateful for it. So she wants to know where she stands with you. She doesn't want to see that you're a man who is a pushover. She's looking for someone that she can actually respect because that's what she craves. And that respect starts with self-respect. So yes, these boundaries that you want to have are for her, right? They benefit her, that respect is a thing that you prioritize in your marriage. But fundamentally, they are for you. All these boundaries are your boundaries because they are how you respect yourself as a man. That's the kind of guy that she wants you to be because that's healthy. So don't feel bad about it. And yes, you might have some short-term conflicts, but that's okay because being direct about the changes you want to see and pushing through those initial conflicts actually gets you somewhere far better in the end. And remember, the alternative is passive aggression, which is a far worse form of conflict and is much more painful, and it's actually cruel to women. You might feel like you're not being a nice guy by addressing the changes that you know are going to be good for your marriage if you two can implement them together. But if you allow yourself to become passive aggressive, you will be far less of a nice guy, okay? It will turn into just daily torture for her. How do I deal with her mood swings? Often, she doesn't really know herself very well. The moods are also overwhelming and confusing for her. So if you stay calm and just be curious and help her to change her mood, that's the most useful thing you can do rather than swooping in and trying to solve it straight away. So show her you can empathize, let her talk it through with you rather than being impatient and telling her to stop it because it's silly. So don't dismiss it because her feelings are very real to her. Process it with her, help her get some clarity. And sometimes just the act of you listening to her is going to be the thing that is the solution. I know it's weird to think of, but listening is the solution she is looking for. That attention you've given her shows that you have prioritized her. And that's the feeling of safety and security that she's looking for. So what this does, especially when you do it long term, is builds trust because it shows you are stable enough to handle her instability. The worst thing you can do here is actually get really frustrated and begin to argue a lot with her and then even attack her back. That's a big sign of weakness because when that emotional vortex has been opened up, you then get sucked into it, swirled around like you're in a tornado, and then that puts you in a really weak position as a man because when she was depending on you most for support and clarity, you actually showed yourself in a way to be the second woman, and she can't quite look at you in the same way again. The other thing is, guess what? Women tend to be better at managing emotions, okay? So what you see is that they are actually better in emotional conflict. You can even see this with men's blood pressure, cortisol levels, how long it takes them to recover from arguments. Men tend to get flooded more easily. So when you are into a emotional, heated situation like that, when you step into the vortex, you are on her domain. Okay, it's like you've gone out swimming into deeper waters and suddenly you can't quite hang anymore, but she can. So you need to get out of there, right? You're not safe there. You need to get to somewhere where you can actually show what she's looking for rather than be drawn into something that's too much for you to handle. Number 9, how can I make her find me sexier? This is the big question at the back of a lot of guys' minds with everything they think about in their marriages, okay? And number one, Jordan Peterson has made this point, and it's true just from the perspective of like secular psychology, is status. For a man, improving his status is often going to make him feel better about himself, even improve his mental and physical health. And because of that, because of the different energy that he gives out, she is also going to find him sexier too. And after that, you really want to work on being decisive, not complaining and whining about your life. Very unattractive, makes you sound like some sort of spoiled, impotent toddler who doesn't like anything around him but is too weak to change it. So really take note as a man of how often you are complaining. Every time you're complaining, you're signaling weakness to her. You want to have a sense of humor and charisma too. Of course, life can be very tough, but you should still be able to greet it with a smile, be grateful for the challenges because they are opportunities for you to grow. Dressing well is going to be basic in terms of self-respect and also a way in which you respect her too, because it actually shows that you care enough about how she sees you and feels around you to put some effort into it. Start with your shoes, right? Just focus on that to begin with, and then start with the way that you smell too, hygiene for your skin, get a nice haircut. Just don't even tell her about it. Make a few changes here and there, and you'll notice the impact that it has. And also, physically being reasonably strong and lean. You don't need to win any competitions. Don't take it too seriously. No need to fixate on it, but just achieve a decent level of strength and leanness to signal health and vitality. Again, you'll feel better about yourself. She'll feel better around you too. Now, notice that not everything on this list is to do with looks. If you're female, looks can take you a long way. And yeah, fine. I'm sure someone like Brad Pitt, his looks took him a long way too. But notice that you aren't Brad Pitt and he has all five anyway. So as a man, you have to really look much further than looks alone to be able to work on yourself in the way that's going to win the respect of other men and ultimately women too. Number 10, super important. How can I make her feel sexier? Basic things, right? The simple stuff that everyone does, but not enough because it's hard. You might have fallen out of the habit of it. Dinner, drinks, a vacation. Show that you value her and want to give her nice experiences. And these have to be experiences that are exclusive to her, ones that other women don't get from you. This is what I call making her feel like the cat who got the cream. There's an interesting fact in psychological research, which is that women find it sexy when their friends say their husband is sexy. And I think the reason for that is because by implication, it actually means that she is sexy because she is with him. It gives her the signal that she is also high status too. So she feels good being around you when she sees that you are desirable. So this is another area, I think, in which the man is leading, even when he doesn't realize it, because he's basically setting the tone for what kind of couple they are. So in all these 10 ways, then, I think the man has a really crucial role to play in improving the health of the marriage. And this is why research shows that men are the decisive factor in marriages. Women matter too, but men matter most. So this is why I take the approach that every marriage problem boils down to a masculinity problem. And rather than playing the victim and pointing the finger at their wives, men should actually point the finger at themselves and see what they can do to improve things, and then let the wives follow. Now, if that approach sounds interesting to you and you want results like the guys who've been following some of these tips have been getting, then check out our support community here, patriarchy.com/start. Currently 268 members, $9 a month, great value. We cover how to apply everything I've spoken about here today and also go into lots more depth on other kinds of practical tips. So thanks for watching. If you've got anything you'd like me to explore further in tomorrow's video, just leave your question in the comments and I'll get to it then. Take care.